This week is being recorded. Start? We don't need to start it. We forgot that part.
Oh, I have to acknowledge. All right, awesome. So welcome. Here we are to how to create the best day of your life any day you want with the power of meditation. Thanks for joining us. I see some familiar faces, classmates. Mike Sutton, great to see you. Thanks for joining us. I'm envious of your shades. We've got overcast skies here in Portland, Oregon. Well, welcome, Melissa, my wife, over here. This is, I think it's our fourth session we've been invited to do. We've been honored to be able to join and provide on the virtual community. I'll give you a little bit of an intro about myself. I graduated from CMC, class of '84, and I've got a couple of my fellow classmates online with us today. 84, woohoo, shout out. I admit I wasn't a meditator back then. If I was, I probably would have done a lot better in my classes. But nonetheless, I started meditating about 7 years ago, and like most people, you typically choose meditation not when things are going so well and awesome in your life, but at some point of crisis and whatnot. And that's when I got started. After 7 years of meditating and seeing the power of meditation, my wife, Melissa, and I opened a meditation studio here in Portland. I, at that time, opted to kind of suspend my corporate career and go into full-time business ownership. And so we've had our studio for 2 years, and it's been a great ride and a great experience. Joe, good to see you. 84 rocks. Well, and so with that, I'd like to let Melissa introduce herself and before we kick things off.
Yeah. How many of you guys have meditated with us before on these sessions? Okay, so we got a couple returning champions, as they say in the game show industry. So good to see you guys again. And this has been, of course, a difficult time. A lot of people are stressed out. And so we really are doing a lot of real-time tools right now to kind of help people, for lack of a better word, navigate the hang time. In our own personal situation, we're in the last county in Portland that's opening anything, and there's no intention of opening anything. So we're still hanging out, but we decided that we don't belong to any group. Therefore, we are our own group, and we will make our own rules. So I know we've got a federal judge on here. Hopefully, we won't be in front of you. But really navigating that stress. And today we're going to do some expansion practices and some gratitude practices, which sometimes when people hear the word gratitude practice, they're like, ew, it's going to be gushy, ushy, new age, touchy-feely. But some of these practices were the biggest changes that I made in my own life. Is anybody watching that Netflix Dead to Me? Is anybody watching that? Yeah, before I meditated, I had a very similar personality to the lead. And my kids did too. So, I was pretty sharp. I was pretty much in my finest hour. I think I was at Michael's and relatively pissed off and went in and dragged the manager out of the office and put him on a cash register. So I'm extremely aggressive, extremely assertive, and also a hard charger. And a lot of you guys are on here are hard chargers. So it's kind of hard to settle into meditation. And then when we get into the squishy, gushy stuff of gratitude, you go, oh, not for me. But we'll keep it on really, really useful tools today. We did open the studio a couple of years ago. Last year we sat over 3,000 seats, which sounds like a lot when we only seat 12 people, but we do run a lot of classes, and we've seen really significant changes in ourselves and in people with being able not to get rid of all their stress, because that's never going to go away, but to be able to manage their stress better and increase their sense of well-being and increase your overall health. And when we think about the health of COVID-19, it's part of your immunity isn't just staying in and washing your hands all the time and obsessively spritzing sanitizer on everything. It's also your immune system is a lot by your well-being. So when we get worn down, our immune systems are more open. So if we get into any squishy stuff that you get uncomfortable with, think about it as like the COVID-19. This is almost as good as a mask, as an N95. So you ready to do a little meditation?
Yeah, let's.
Okay, so this is a very different meditation that you guys have seen. This is an expansion meditation because a lot of what's going on right now is we're all like this. First of all, you go out on the street. Who's going to infect me? Let me step off the street. Jeff calls it the world's longest game of Pac-Man. And you're constantly dodging. Is this person going to move? Or are they not going to move? The other day, I may as well just say it. I was on my way to work and the guy and I were dodging each other. And instead of stepping off the curb, he pulled down his pants. I'm like, well, I really wasn't expecting that. And I felt like, well, at least you have a mask on. So there you go. But we're dodging. And then when we're outside of our house, we feel so vulnerable because we don't know who's going to cough and sneeze on us. We don't know what anybody's touched. We don't know what anybody's going to do. And we're in this long game of predicting what the other person's going to do, which we're generally in anyway, but it's super augmented. But then when we get in our houses, we get all kind of warm and fuzzy because then we know it's handled. I know the people in this house. I know what's going to happen. It's handled, but we also can feel a little bit closed in. So we're just going to do some expansion practices because we really do contract in a lot. Do you guys find yourself like that when you're out on the street? You're just like, here I am. Nobody's waving around. And I think another thing that's happening in the face covering wearing world is we're getting about 1/3 of the information from other people. So we're even have a hard time communicating when we're out because we're only seeing even this part of their eyes. And there's so much expression in the face and so much expression in even moving your head around. People don't want to move their heads. They don't want to knock their masks off. They're already all fogged up. So we're missing a lot of information, and that can even cause you to go in a little bit more. So we're just going to do some expansion practices just to kind of get all on the same page. So if you haven't meditated with us before, we'll tell you a couple things about how meditation works. If you think you're going to empty your mind of all thoughts, that's probably not going to happen. If that actually happens and you have zero thoughts, you are clinically dead. Please call 911 right before that happens. We're not liable for anything after that. We're really just redirecting our thoughts and redirecting our attention and placing our focus on one thing. Now, for some of us, we've been inside so much, there's almost no stimulation. There's not a lot of surprises. No one pops to the door. There's no unexpected deliveries. No one says, grab your coat, let's go get a beer. So we're a little bit dull right now, and this practice will help kind of awaken some of that dullness and give you a little bit more expansiveness. It's commonly known as a glimpse practice, which is the moment of enlightenment. So we typically tell people they won't get enlightened on this call, but this call you actually will get a little bit enlightened. So as we head into our meditation, I will talk you through it. If you fall asleep, that's okay. It rarely happens on the first meditation. The only person who can't fall asleep is me, and Jeff's here to wake me up. So before we sit, I just would like to ask you to just take a look around your space and see the incredible space you've created. Sometimes this can feel like a little bit of a jail or a little bit of I gotta get out of here. These people are making me crazy. But today, it really is your safe haven. And when you think about when you've been out playing Pac-Man on the street or dodging people at the grocery store, when you get home, you have that immediate feeling of safety. So take a look around from the throw pillows to perhaps the pile of laundry that's sitting in the corner to any memorabilia you've put up today. You've really created this haven for yourself, and that's there's some gratitude there, and there's some acknowledgement there. When you feel like you've had a nice look around and extended gratitude, just let your eyes go ahead and close. And that cuts down the stimulation a little bit. That's why we close our eyes, because we're often pretty stimulated when we're out taking in things with all of our five senses. So we can take out a little bit of that by just letting your eyes close. And the first thing when we sit down is our bodies are like, what are you doing? I'm go, go, go. So we're gonna kind of walk you through settling your body down by first Just resting your attention on your hands. Where are your hands? What are they resting on? You might feel a slight warmth where your hands are touching. The tops of your hands might feel kind of cool. And if anything becomes more interesting than your hands, which probably already has, just say hands and come back to your hands. Bring your attention to your sit bones, how you're resting on your sit bones, how your weight is resting, how you're sitting in your chair. Just really take your seat. And bring your attention to your feet. How are your feet resting? How are they connecting with the floor, with the earth? You might be able to feel your socks, or wearing sandals. You might feel the air. How do your feet feel resting? And rest your attention across those 3 points, your hands, your sit bones, and your feet. And just kind of be. Then begin to notice how your breath feels. Just begin to follow your breath. How does it feel? Just feel the air flowing in and out of your body. However you're feeling it, it's fine. You don't have to change your breath. Just let it flow naturally, however it's flowing. And let's focus your attention to the area just under your nose where you can feel your breath flowing. And feel that coolness of the air coming in and the warmth of the air coming out. Just keep your attention really narrow there. And notice how your body feels when you hone your attention in that close. And if something becomes more interesting than your breath, and there's 100% possibility that that's happened, just bring it back to that breath, the coolness coming in, and the warmth coming out. Then let's switch where your attention is focused. Rest your attention about 6 feet above your head. See how that feels in your body to rest your attention about 6 feet above your head. And when something pops into your head, you feel like you might not be doing it right, just bring your attention back up to about 6 feet above your head. Almost like you've heard a noise in the middle of the night. You've put all your attention toward the direction of the sound. Rest your attention like that, 6 feet above your head. And then let's bring your attention to 6 feet behind you. 6 feet behind you, resting your attention, almost like you've heard a sound 6 feet behind you, and you're trying to figure out where it came from. And just hold your attention 6 feet behind you. And you can let that go. Feel ready? Just go ahead and open your eyes. Fun, huh? Anybody have any insights? Did you feel more expansive when that happened? Just a little bit open? It's great if you have teenagers and you're starting to get really mad at them and feeling completely hopeless, to just rest your attention 6 feet above your head. It just moves your attention out because we start to contract. And I just want to show you guys something real quick. Just drop your eyes closed really quick. We're going to do a quick exercise, really fun. Just drop your eyes closed. And because now we're all chilled out. And imagine yourself in the most expensive grocery store in your area, whether it's Whole Foods or some boutique grocery store. The good one, though. Take yourself into the produce area. Take in all that produce, meticulously lined up. And go to the lemons and choose the biggest, juiciest, best lemon. And hold it in your hand and feel it. Feel the skin. Scratch it with your thumbnail. Give it a little sniff. Squeeze it. Feel how juicy it is. And cut it in half and see that juice run out. Feel it on your hand. And cut yourself a little wedge and squeeze it a little bit and watch more juice come out. Then bite it. You guys can open your eyes. Anybody salivate? Anybody have a lemon? No! It's the power of your mind. Absolute power of your mind. So you can really direct it wherever you want. Our bodies respond almost the same to a thought as if something is actually happening. That's how you can go to 0 to 16 being angry in 5 seconds, even if something hasn't happened. When you relive that person who cut you off, or that person who bumped into you without their mask on, or whatever it is, that's the power of our minds, that we can bring it up and bring that physiological response just like that. So I'm gonna turn it over to you.
Well, really the kind of the subtitle of the session today is you change your mind, you change your reality. That exercise gave you a little power, feeling of the power of what your brain can do, because as human beings, we actually embody our thoughts. We have a thought, and then if we do grasp onto it, it's immediately followed by an emotion to make sure we feel it. And the brain's evolved over what? We can argue, I think it's more than 10,000 years, but I won't go into specifics. But we can argue that the emotions we feel are what keeps us alive, and that strong emotions were required to get us to pull our attention off of whatever we might have been absorbed in, because something is going to eat us, etc. So I'm going to start off with the quote from Archimedes, since we're all CMC scholars and we love ancient Greeks, but Archimedes was a famous ancient scientist and mathematician, and he said, if you give me a lever long enough and a fulcrum on which to place it, I can move the world. So our brains operate that way. And what we're going to try to help you tune into is that you can operate them yourselves at any time. So the lever, we all know the longer the lever, the more potential energy and force and that I can apply to something. Well, our lever is our own conceptions and our own belief of the possibilities and the power we have. It's our belief in what our potential is. If it's closed in, because I'm like it might be for some right now, then I don't have much power. I really can't do much. My lever is short. But if we can expand and keep it positive, or at least believe that we can do what we're going to set our mind to, we like it. The fulcrum is our mindset. It's literally our attitude. And I think I love this quote. It's our mindset with which we can generate the power to change. And change doesn't mean necessarily change ourselves because we have some kind of flaw or we're dissatisfied with something. It's literally, it's the change. It can be as simple as a perspective. It could be as simple as saying, wow, I thought of this and I had this crappy feeling in my stomach. Why do I view it that way? If I could literally change the way I view it, and that feeling will go away. So those two things, how long is my lever? What is my mindset? What can I do with it? So here's an example, a great story. It was a study done a while ago, but what they did was they took a group of 75-year-olds that didn't know each other. And they said, you're going on a week retreat. And in this retreat, you're going to pretend that it's 1959. So given that the study was done in 79, that meant these guys were going to pretend like they're a bunch of 55-year-olds, which for some of us here, we haven't hit that. For some of us, I'd like to go back and be 55 again. But so they got there and they were told to act as if, talk about Eisenhower, President Eisenhower, what's going on. The rooms all had Saturday Evening Posts spread upon them. The newspapers were talking about headlines in the 50s. They even had badges that had pictures of what they looked like 20 years ago. And the music was all Billboard songs that were popular in 1959. So they were literally living and acting and talking about things as if it were 1959. So the hypothesis of this whole trial was the belief that our mental construction of ourselves has a direct influence on the aging process. That really how we feel about ourselves, it's like, oh, I got an aching pain. Well, I'm just getting old. That's just the way it is. Tough it out, dude. Or I don't know. Do I believe it's like something different? Anyway, after the week, they took all the participants and they retested them on things like their strength, posture, perception, cognition, flexibility, eyesight, and they compared it to the pre-retreat tests. And they found out that in this group, just by pretending to be 20 years younger for a week, all of the participants improved in every single category they tested. Some people's eyesight actually got better. They were more flexible. Their memory, short-term memory, proved better. All these aspects could start to show change in a mere week. All because of what? They changed their mindset. And maybe all the props, they were really led to believe, oh my God, I really am 55. I'm young. I can do anything I want. So that is the power. And the message from that is that, our mindset doesn't just change the way we feel about an experience. It actually changes the actual outcomes of those experiences. So I just wanted to plant that seed. That's what we're doing. We can change these things, but it's not easy. I'm going to hand it over to Melissa.
So this is the data that we're using here is from a book called The Happiness Advantage. Has anybody read that? It's by Sean Achor. Sean Achor, I think I went to a conference about 8 years ago and he was the keynote. And at that time, his TED Talk was the most downloaded TED Talk of all time, which I think they say about every single TED Talk. Not really sure. So one of there's 10 principles in there for happiness, and Jeff just mentioned one. The most profound one for me is called the Tetris Effect. So everybody on this call looks like they pretty much have played some Tetris in their life. And you know, when you play it, you see those little blocks dropping everywhere you go. You're in the grocery store and go, oh, I could fit some cornflakes right there. I could fit this. When you drive down the street, oh, I could put a long one right there, because your brain gets wrapped around that and sees those repetitive patterns. If you've ever bought any kind of car that you think is so unique, whether it's a Volkswagen or a Hummer or a Prius, and suddenly you drive off the lot and you see 20 million cars just like yours that you never noticed before. That's a Tetris effect. Our brain likes to look for patterns. So when we have patterns of negativity, that also comes into play, and psychologists call it the default mode network. It's when you're not making a decision, turn left, turn right, eat a banana. It's that voice that's like, everything's going to shit. When is COVID going to be over? Oh my God, this is terrible. I'm so bored. That's the default mode network. And so interrupting that with a pattern interrupt is what Jeff is talking about, the fulcrum. You create your own fulcrum. So there's a couple ways to do that. The way that we initially did it was we had 2 teenagers, as I've mentioned with you guys before. Jeff is the bravest man on the planet. He married 2 girls going through puberty and a woman in menopause. This man, there's no one in Game of Thrones that could take this guy down. And we had developed some incredibly nasty teenage habits. And as all of us who have been teenagers or raised teenagers know, at some point they get in a spaceship and come back and you don't recognize your kid. And you wish that they would get back in the spaceship and just not even bring the pod back at that point. So we were at that low point, and I came back from this conference all excited and said, let's do a gratitude practice. And everyone rolled their eyes, including everyone rolled their eyes, and I said, let's do it. So for 30 days, every day, we wrote down 3 things we were grateful for. Now, when you're younger, you don't have a lot of stuff. You don't have 90 things. So by the end, we were going pretty deep into our gratitude. We start out with mom, dad, family, pets, car, we have heat, we have light. By the end, the very last thing my daughter wrote was, when mom makes a quesadilla, I like it when it's crispy but not burned. And that was and so what had happened was we were all looking for things to be grateful for. So we completely changed our mindset to one of, wow, there's a lot of things to be grateful for. So we say err on the side of joy. Rather than, and particularly now when we're seeing people out, they're coughing, they're sneezing, they're bumping into us, they're touching stuff, they're not wearing masks. If they're wearing a mask, they're not wearing it right. If they're wearing an N95, we wonder where they got it. We have a lot of negative talk around that, and really just changing it to one phrase, may you be safe, or 2 phrases, may you be safe, may you be happy. And those are actually traditional Buddhist phrases. So it happened this morning. I got out. Our studio is in a little bit of a rougher part of town. There are quite a few people living in their cars. And there's some days when I'm semi-okay with it, and other days when I'm like, oh my God. And I got out this morning and I was having one of those days, and I saw someone getting out of their car. And instead of going into my dialogue, we need to move this place, there's going to be a million places available, I just went, may you be safe, may you be happy. Instant change. And I know it sounds goofy and new agey, but it's a very, very different mindset, because that negativity can get in all the time. So just changing it to, may I be safe, may I be happy. I challenge you guys to do the gratitude practice at home with your families, particularly now where there's less stimulation. I'm fairly certain Grubhub will come up, but to write down 3 things a day. Everybody in the family, we stuck them on Post-its. They were stuck all over the kitchen. We did it at the studio. We have a huge wall. We had like 300 on there. We did a gratitude practice in November, and we asked people to identify people they were grateful for. So you think of that one teacher that gave you a slide on a test that you didn't do very well on when you were having a rough time, or that roommate that bailed you out that one time. There were names up there that people were digging into their memory banks, because we did it for 30 days. We had time. We went through a huge stack of Post-it notes. Completely changes your mindset. And this is the perfect time to do it when you've got a little bit of time to do some self-reflection. Did I miss anything?
No, that's good.
Okay.
That exercise was pretty powerful. I was rolling my eyes at the beginning, but it became a lot easier at the end.
and it's incredibly powerful for some of you guys that know Jeff to hear that he participated in this practice, because you know he's a goofy, regular guy. Where it really paid off is in golf. If you played golf with Jeff, occasionally he loses it, and I believe there's a club somewhere in a tree on a course. He actually couldn't get it back down after throwing it.
I needed some new irons anyway. It was a good excuse.
So after this practice, I went to his Christmas party at his job, and they said, "What'd you do to him? He's become unbeatable. We can't." All of a sudden, he's got this mindset, and he'll take a couple breaths, and he's killing it. So this carries over into every aspect of your life. What's your mantra for golf? The ball.
Ball's already in the hole, man. Don't get in the way of it.
So that's a part of the practice. And we're not goofy new age, juice drinking hippies. We do this stuff all the time. So I want to do a practice with you guys so that we can leave some room for questions, and maybe we'll take a couple minutes of questions, because it's quite an intense practice. But it's really, especially if you're having issues with people in your family, if you've got somebody that you've spent a little bit too much time in the house with, and it's a little raw right now. This is a tremendous practice. And it's also, have you guys done this with me before, where you put your hand on your heart? Okay, yeah, there's gonna be hand on heart. Don't make the face, I can see you. The camera never lies. So does anybody have any questions before we go on? We can take a couple questions. I like that suggestion. I have Kaiser, they're offering Calm app. There you go. And Jeff put the happiness advantage in there. So Jen, I'm going to let you watch the chat, or Jeff, and if you see any questions, just let us know.
Sure.
That would be. I told you I wasn't going to assign you anything, but I think you can handle it. I'm feeling you. So this practice is we developed here in the studio. It's a combination of 3 different practices. A lot of the things that we have, we've really developed from just teaching so many students. I teach 22 classes a week. I'm a machine. So really seeing and really seeing people benefit from this. I've taught this at the most brutal law firm in Portland, and they loved it. On a side note, when I did introduce the practice for the first time in a corporate situation, I came back the next week not expecting that the person in the front row to raise their hand and said, "I did this with my kids," and all they said was poop every day. And I went, you know what? Have you ever been constipated? These kids are smart. So you never know what your kids are going to come up with. Be open to everything. So as no questions? Okay, good. So this practice is going to last about 15 or so minutes, and we'll have some time for questions out of it. Sometimes longer, sometimes shorter. It kind of depends on me. But this is to really put some softening around if you're having issues with someone, if you're angry with someone, if you have someone in your life that's suffering. And it's a hand on heart practice. Now, why we do this is not to be new agey. When you touch your heart and you actually have your hand there, it signals to the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system to come into synchronization. So when if you're super angry or you're super stressed out, or somebody's hit you with cutting you off or whatever they're doing, or a weird phone call or a weird Facebook post, you can instantly bring yourself down by just placing your hand on your heart and feeling it and taking a couple breaths. So it gives your body a physical signal. I'm also going to ask you to smile a little bit during it. When you smile, it signals to your body that it's okay to relax. So sometimes when I am pushed in public, or I am pushed by my kids, I'll have a little goofy smile on my face, which I think is probably a little bit disconcerting for them, but it lets my body know it's okay to relax. So we're going to be using a lot of somatic body things. Did I miss anything?
No, you're rolling.
All right, well, let's do it. So get comfy, whatever that means to you. Again, just a quick glance around the space that you've created. You're in your haven, you're in your space, you're in your cocoon, your jam. Let your eyes close. That cuts down the stimulation a little bit, allows you to go inside. Let's go back to that. Hands, feeling your hands, resting your hands. Resting your attention on them. You might feel a slight pulse in your hands. Then bringing your attention to your sit bones, how you're resting on your chair. Letting yourself ground into your chair, accepting gravity, accepting the support of your chair, of your home. And bringing your attention to your feet. Just how they're resting. Again, accepting that gravity. Earth hasn't kicked anybody off yet. And then spread your attention between your hands, your sit bones, your feet. Come fully present into your space. Let your head rest between your shoulders like it was placed there with no tension. You can wiggle it around and find the right space if you like. Place your tongue against the roof of your mouth and just let yourself come to a little bit of a smile. And that'll let your body know it's okay to relax. And then just begin to let your breath flow through your body, just feeling it, however it feels. However you're breathing right now, it is perfect. If you feel your chin creeping up, go ahead and drop it down and bring it to level. Just letting your breath flow. And of course, you're going to get distracted and have thoughts and wonder what you're going to do later. It's okay. Just come on back. Bring your breath back to the focus of attention. Then just take your right hand and gently place it on your heart. Just feeling how your hand feels. You might feel your lungs expanding and contracting. You might be able to feel your heartbeat. Feeling the warmth of your hand. And scan your body and see if you feel kind of an immediate relaxation. And bring into your consciousness somebody who's very, very dear to you, that you love, that's your person. Just choose one, first one, best one. Bring up everything that's great about them. Bring that into your consciousness. And just gently repeat, may you be safe, may you be happy. And we're going to sit here for 2 or 3 minutes, and if you feel like you have it with your hand, you can let your hand come back down in your lap. Knowing you can come back the minute you touch your heart, your body's going to immediately respond and come back into focus. So just bring that person into your consciousness, celebrating everything that's cool about them, and just repeat for just a few minutes. May you be safe, may you be happy. And let's let that person gently go. Place your hand back on your heart. Bring into your consciousness someone you know is suffering, whether it's emotional or physical or lonely, whatever it is. Just choose one person, first one, best one. And put some gentleness around their suffering. Just repeat the phrase, may your suffering ease. May your suffering ease. When you feel like you have them, you can let your hand down. Again, knowing you can touch your heart and it'll bring you right back to that place. Let's sit for 2 minutes or so, just wrapping kindness around this person. May your suffering ease. And lastly, let's bring someone into your consciousness that you're struggling with. Maybe you've had a little bit too much togetherness, angry with them, did something to you. Or it can be a situation that you are really struggling with. You're welcome to touch your heart again. You'll see what it would be like to put a little softness around it. Just put a soft focus on it. To hold it in your consciousness more softly. And let's just sit with that for a minute. Let's extend this softness, this kindness to the whole world, all sentient beings, near and far. May we be safe. May we be happy. May our suffering ease. May we be safe. May we be happy. May our suffering ease. And begin to bring your attention back into your own space. Feeling your breath flow through your body. Coming back to those 3 points of contact: hands, sit bones, feet. When you feel ready, you can open your eyes. Pretty fun, huh? It's kind of intense. So if you're a little speechless, I see some really nice smiles, and it's a really good way to come into gentleness. You know, if you have that neighbor that gets their weed whacker out, I think we've all swore in our minds, we're going to break that thing, or why does he have to do it? Just to go, may you be safe, may you be happy, may your yard be healthy. It's so much easier, and it really takes a lot off your day. When there's people, we're at a very, very busy intersection with our studio. When people honk at each other and flip the bird, I'll be in the middle of teaching and just, may you be safe, may you be happy, right back to teaching. And that's when we talk about the happiest day of your life. If you try one day to walk through and every single person you see, may you be safe, may you be happy. When you see that person on the street asking for money, picking up cans, may your suffering ease. We can't bring all the puppies home, but you can offer that person kindness and compassion. And the cool thing about this practice is, while we were offering compassion to the world, there's people all over the world that are offering compassion at the same time. So we got a little on us. Buy one, get one. We are in all sentient beings. This practice is a traditional Buddhist practice that's been around for 2,600 years. There's people who do it all over the world, 24 hours a day. So 24 hours a day, someone is offering you compassion. From me sitting in the studio to monks sitting in Tibet. So that's what makes it a really cool practice. So we'll pop up some questions, comments. Feel free to take yourself off mute if you want to ask us a question, or you can ask it in the chat. Otherwise, I'm a nervous talker. I'll just keep talking. Is that out loud? Do you want to talk about your dad?
My dad, what?
Yeah, reconnecting with you.
Did he call? Oh,
no.
Did he call? For me, that compassion practice, yeah, it felt a little woo-woo at first, but a couple of years ago, I started doing it and practicing a couple mornings a week, and I hadn't talked to my dad in 20 years, and the last time we had gotten together, I thought was positive, but for some reason, I kept expecting him to make a move, and he was probably expecting me to make a move, and we just sort of let 20 years go by, and then Melissa asked me, "Hey, what about your dad? And you want to connect with him?" And I have to admit, at that time, all I could think of was, what's going to happen if I do? I mean, is Is he going to be okay? Is he going to be financially okay? Am I going to need to help him financially? Is he going to suddenly need physical care? Am I going to start caring directly again for another aging parent? And, I mean, all I could think about was what's going to happen to me if I do this. And I said, and so I held off. And fast forward, after 6 months of doing this practice, Melissa and I had a rare opportunity to take a vacation. We were in Maui. And I said, I've been here before. And we were walking along the beach, and I saw this very tall, in Kihei, Maui, there's this very tall building. And I said, oh, I've been there before. I know it. I came here with my parents. And I remember that. I was 14, and Melissa said, hey, it's like, well, maybe you should get in touch with your dad. She brought it up again. And the funniest thing was at that time, I thought about it, and instead I was like, wow, what would happen if I didn't call him? It was a complete shift. It wasn't even premeditated, or she kind of surprised me with the question, and I surprised myself with the answer. And so I called him within 24 hours, and we connected. And when we got back home from the vacation, I went up and visited him, and kind of that was the end of that. But it was...
Well, now they're besties, and they talk every day. They rode all the way across the country. We have incredibly opposite political views, and they run all the way across the country. They call each other all the time. And the first time his dad came here, he's 81 years old, ex-Navy, was crying and said, I never thought I'd be here. I never thought this would happen. And it truly is the power of this practice. So as woo-woo as it is, and it is, it's hard to tune in and go, wow, this person is suffering. I'm tuning into their suffering. I'm feeling their suffering. It's an incredible, powerful practice. And I think we've talked about on other calls, the first time they put a couple of monks who teach this and practice this up on MRI machines, they thought the MRIs were broken because the happiness areas of their brains lit up so significantly. They thought it was a defective MRI. And after 3 different machines, they concluded that this lights up more happiness areas of the brain than anything. Why don't people do it? Why aren't there a million gazillion people sitting in contemplative practice all day? Because it's hard and it's intense and it takes time, and we're Americans and we like to take a pill or slap a patch on. So that's part of it. So I think oh goodness, we're close on time. So
yeah, I just wanted to say one shout out because I know Jenna's there at CMC and having to deal with it, but there's a lot of people that won't be able to have a reunion this year. And kind of going back to that example I cited, I mean, when I get together with my buddies and my classmates, it really does give you this incredible little jolt of positive attitude, positive mindset. And a lot of folks aren't going to be able to do that, which is one of the reasons why I love being able to host these sessions. Cherie, Joe, Andy, Mitch was here. I love to see your faces. It brings me all the way back.
Yeah, same here.
And thanks, you guys. Thanks to Jenna, and thanks for showing up, you guys. It's been really incredible, and what a unique opportunity we have to bounce meditation off a satellite.
Yes, thank you all so much. Thank you everyone for attending. If you haven't had a chance yet, I encourage you to sign in through the chat just so we can see who's here. It helps us keep track of all of our events. There's a question from Anne. Melissa, do you see that one?
I do. Meditation retreat or weekend. I would say email me and we'll look at your specific needs. I would not recommend kicking it off with a 10-day Vipassana retreat. It can be a little bit intense. Go for something more spa-like. Again, we're Americans. Ooh, we got to go hard. I'll go for something a little bit more spa-like. My own, where do you live? Throw that in the chat. If you live Santa Barbara, David G, D-A-V-I-D-J-I, that's my own teacher. He has retreats in Carlsbad. They're fabulous. They're right on the beach and they're really, really small. But yeah, if you guys are looking for individual retreats, do email us. And look at that, Jeff put it right in the chat.
That is it. Are we even allowed to have retreats? I mean, is that social distance?
Eventually we will.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for being here.
Yes,
Thanks again.
Thank you.
A great day.
Now we can go.
Bye, Jenna.
Bye-bye, Mike.
Good to see you, Jeff. Bye, Melissa.